Oh, way back when I was very young, probably 7 or 8 years old, my dad and my mother and dad would bring me over to the Porter County Fair. I lived in LaPorte County, and my dad had cattle friends in Porter County, and so we had to come and see the Porter County Fair. That's when I remember coming and seeing and him telling me to go look at Rachel Brust's wool suit in the 4-H building. He was trying to set an example for me, I guess.
I did a skirt one year, and I had to do a pleated skirt. But I remember having to do like the draw, like you do the thread, like you loosely sew it, and then you like bring it together in certain areas to pleat it, and then do a hard sew after that. I remember being really proud of that skirt, and I think it had a floral print, so I loved that print. I feel like for that time, I remember being like, "Oh, look what I just did."
Yeah. The foods projects are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have the foods auction that supports the 4-H scholarships going forward. And, you know, I've bought cakes for $300. And they're spectacular cakes, and it supports the 4-H scholarship, which I think is the very best thing to support.
Some little kid came, and I don't think he was in 4-H, maybe with a sister or whatever, and another girl had put her cake for the afternoon on the table for the afternoon judging. And this little boy kid, he ate her cake. So when it was time for judging, I don't know if she went home and baked another one because she found out she didn't have a cake. And that's one aside. And then in that same situation, I had a judge get sick on the spot, and I had to rally and get a new judge.
My two older sisters were in exhibited and were 4-Hers. And my sister's first year of 4-H, she had two little lambs, Billy and Lily. And I wasn't in 4-H yet either. But she took them with my dad up to the old fairgrounds and just put the lambs in a pen and had to wait to get weighed. So they put him in a pen and they waited. And my dad's a dairy farmer, so he left my sister, who probably was 10, up at the Porter County Fair by herself with her two little lambs. And so they were called Billy and Lily, like I said, and he had to go back to the farm to milk the cows because they have to get milked at a certain time. And I remember then my sister calling home, talking to my mom because she was home with me. So I would have been 4 or 5 years old, and said, "Mom, Lily didn't make the weight. She's too little. Just Billy gets to show." But at the time, the superintendent knew, sheep, they're herd animals. They don't do well by themselves.
Yeah.
So he just let her keep Lily at the fair. But I was just amazed that, how safe and everything you felt about things. And she was able to do all this stuff and comfortable with all the 4-H people helping her out with no parents.
Everyone gets sick either from exhaustion, or the reality is it's just a lot of people in one spot with that, new germs and things like that. But I do remember vividly my brother, before the fair started one time, I had a pair of ducks that were really nice, and all summer long I made sure that they looked good. And I remember the waterfowl show came up, and I was like really sick. I don't remember if I had a stomach bug or if I had the flu or whatever. Well, my brother ended up having to show these ducks for me, and I kicked butt. I mean, my ducks just creamed everyone. And I remember, dying on the couch, and my mom came home, and she's like, "Hey, guess what? Your ducks won." And I was like, "Oh, man, I missed it."
There was one year I took my cat Gizmo, and she was not a specific breed. She was just a random cat I had. I'm not even sure I knew who her parents were. Just a stray kitten. But she was very sweet and friendly. She's named after Gizmo from Gremlins, if anybody knows that movie. But I took her to the 4-H Cat Project. And Cat Project, if you've ever seen like the movie Best in Show, it's like that, but for cats.
Yeah.
The cages are all decorated beautifully. Cats are like primped and pampered and like prepared to be on, on the stage. And I just had my cat, who was just like a regular cat. But she kept making it through rounds. Like, the judge really liked her. And I was like, surely she'll be out this round, and then I'll take her home, and she can go about her normal cat day. She ended up winning the whole show. I don't know how. The judge just really liked her personality. Nothing to do with me. I didn't do anything. Like, I can't take credit for this win. It's all the cat. But she got a ribbon, but she also got this cool director's chair that says Grand Champion Cat on the back. And, like, I don't even feel like I can sit in it, because I'm like, this is the cat's. She's unfortunately not with us anymore, but my other cats sit on it, fight over who gets to be in the chair. But I'm like, I wish she could read so she understood what she accomplished that day. But it was just so funny, because I was just sitting there like, what's happening? Because it's not like I had my other animals who I put all this work into and like prepared them, and then this cat, I was like, I'll just take her, we'll see what happens. And she's like, yeah, I'm just gonna win it all. But again, I cannot take credit for that win, because I didn't really do anything.
One little boy that I was photographing, maybe 3 years into photographing, he just came out of the show ring showing swine, and he's just sobbing, and it's like, what's wrong? And he's like, I just got bit in the nuts by my pig. And it's like, you can't make that stuff up. That's funny stuff.
So my last year, it was pretty amazing. That show day was the longest show day ever. It started about afternoon, and we probably didn't get done. Usually it's a 4-hour show or something. It was close to 8 probably.
Wow.
And my dad, being the dairy farmer, he stayed because I won. Yeah, it was just really special. And, to see my dad was still there, didn't have to run home and do milk the cows. And one of the last classes from that day is showmanship. And as you can see, my shirt that I have, that's always a big thing with 4-H kids, is your fair clothes.
Yeah.
Your plaid shirt. You want the judge to see you, notice you. You want to make sure you look nice. So this shirt was a white shirt, and it had fringe on it. Well, the sheep loved it, and they ate it, and my shirt was absolutely filthy. Absolutely so filthy. Funny. But it was my last year in 4-H, so I was like 18, 19. And my sister then was 4 years older than I, and she was out of 4-H and knew how important all of the fair things. It was time for showmanship, and she's looking at me, and she's like, your shirt. I'm like, I don't have anything else. And she's like, I'll switch with you. I'll put your shirt on. You put on my shirt. Just for the competition, because it was disgusting. It could have walked on its own, And my sister, I couldn't believe she did it. You're kidding. This is so gross. It's all sweaty and gross. And she did it. And I didn't win that competition, but the night of the auction, it set a record. The 2 grocery stores. Do you know this story? Mm-mm. Wiseway and Costas Foods decided at that they were going to, and I didn't know any, they were going to break a record, and they were going to compete against each other because they wanted the advertisement. And so in 1981, it went to $21 a pound. And at the time, so at the old fairgrounds, it was just sheep, pigs, and beef that were sold. So sheep went first, and my cousin and my brother-in-law were in the audience. Not real farm-oriented people. My cousin, Dr. Jack Cooper, and he happened to be home. And my brother-in-law, Paul Frederick, they're just sitting there and they're watching the crowd, and it was just kind of quiet. He's like, well, we gotta wake up these people. And so they started cheering, and somehow they got a bell, and they started ringing a bell every time a bid was made. And we broke the record, $21.
That's amazing.
And at the time, my lamb is going crazy because the crowd is loud. I'm like, what is going on? I had no clue. I had no clue what was going on. And his name was Lucky. That was his name.
Hey, lived up to it.
Yeah.
A lot of people bought animals at the auction just to sort of make a donation, be supportive, advertise their business, because your business's name or got put up, or because they were friends. Like, other doctors would kind of go in and buy our animals because they were friends with my dad. So the goats we always got given back to us, and then they just lived at our at our barn for, you know, however long. But it was a little hard. It took me getting used to the poultry. The ducks and geese we actually would generally keep. We didn't get those butchered very often, but like the turkeys and then the chickens that were raised to be eaten, because we also had laying hens which we kept and they laid eggs. That did take some getting used to. That's hard as a little kid. There was a moment, and that's why I actually only did pigs 1 year, because I was like, one of my pigs, a friend's family ended up taking her because they had the same breed, but then the male pig got butchered and it was like hard. I was like, I don't think I can do this. This is like, because pigs are very friendly, very smart. So not to knock anybody who does that project at all, but that was one instance where I was like, I don't think I want to do this one again. Luckily, I didn't have to deal with it with the mammals too often. Obviously, horses we kept, but yeah, our goats we had to keep. But yeah, it did take me some getting used to with the poultry to be like, oh, this turkey's like, someone's gonna eat this thing, and that was weird. It's a weird. I mean, unless you're like a vegetarian or vegan, like that is a part of the process. And at least, you know, our birds did have like a very good life while they were being raised, but it's hard. I mean, it's still kind of hard to think about. I don't know that I ever was fully like on board. Yeah. But it was just part of the project.